When the grid fails, your modern kitchen becomes obsolete, and your food supply is suddenly on a countdown to rot. The hum of the fridge stops, the freezer thaws, and every single thing you bought from the store is now on borrowed time. But here's the twist. While we panic, our ancestors would have barely blinked. They had no refrigeration, no plastic wrap, no vacuum-sealed packages, and yet they survived, thrived, and even feasted. How? By mastering the art of food preservation. In this video, we're digging up 7 ancient tricks to make your food last practically forever. These aren't high-tech hacks. They're the same survival strategies that carried humans through famine, war, and winter, long before Best By dates were even a thing. Picture this. The power's gone, the fridge. Just a lukewarm coffin for your leftovers. You open the door, and everything inside is already plotting to turn itself into compost. Scary? Absolutely. But that's the exact moment your great-great-grandparents would have shrugged and said, "Relax, we've got this." They didn't need electricity. They had salt, smoke, earth, and patience. And if you want your food to last when the lights go out, you need to borrow their playbook. Why does food rot? Food goes bad for 3 main reasons. Hungry microbes, sneaky moisture, that ever-present oxygen. Take away any one of those 3, and your dinner sticks around. Our ancestors didn't know the science, but they noticed the patterns. Salt stopped meat from rotting. Vinegar turned vegetables into crunchy power food. A cool hole in the ground kept apples fresh months after harvest. They weren't guessing, they were observing, and they built entire food cultures around it. 1. Salt. The ancient paycheck. Salt isn't just seasoning, it's survival dust. Rub a pork shoulder with coarse crystals or dunk it in brine, and the salt pulls water out like a sponge. Microbes can't grow where there's no moisture, which means no rot, no botulism, no stomach-turning surprises. Roman soldiers were literally paid in salt. The word salary comes from it. Civilizations rose and fell around salt mines and trade routes. That's how powerful it was. Pack meat tight in a cool, dry space, and it'll last for months. Yes, it'll taste salty, but better a salty stew than an empty pot. In fact, some of the world's most famous foods are just salt preservation in disguise. Think Italian prosciutto, Spanish jamon, or salted cod that fed sailors for centuries. When you salt meat, you're not just saving calories, you're stepping into a tradition that built empires. 2. Drying the sun-powered preserver. If salt is one trick, drying is another. Sun, wind, or a smoky fire all strip food of the moisture it needs to rot. Slice meat thin, hang it up, and in a couple days you've got jerky that weighs almost nothing and laughs at mold. Our ancestors weren't just drying meat. Apples, tomatoes, peppers, and herbs all shrink down into lightweight, long-lasting snacks. Stick them in a paper bag with a few holes, and they'll keep through the season, ready for the trail, the pantry, or the bunker. Think of it as time travel in food form. Bite into dried fruit in February, and you're tasting last summer's sunshine. Entire cultures revolved around drying. Native Americans made pemmican, dried meat pounded with fat and berries, a superfood that could last for years. Nomadic tribes in Asia carried dried milk as portable nourishment. Drying wasn't just preservation, it was mobility. 3. Smoke. Flavor meets preservation. Smoke is nature's 2-for-1 deal. Flavor plus protection. Cold smoke dries the surface and adds antimicrobial compounds, while hot smoke cooks the food and makes it last longer. All you need is a barrel, some dowels, and a smoldering fire built from green wood. Hang your meat or fish above, and you've got an instant smokehouse. Your neighbors might think you're throwing the world's longest barbecue. Let them wonder. You'll be the one with food that outlasts the next blackout. Indigenous groups in the Arctic used smokehouses to preserve massive amounts of fish for the long winters. The bonus, that smoky flavor, became a cultural marker of survival itself. Today's smoked salmon, or barbecue ribs, are just echoes of that ancient life-or-death necessity. For pickling and fermenting, acid versus microbes. High acid means low chance of spoilage. Vinegar and salt water both drop the pH so low that bacteria can't party. Quick pickling is easy. Boil water and vinegar in equal parts. Add some salt, sugar, and spices. Then drop in cucumbers, onions, even hard-boiled eggs. Seal it up, and boom. Crunchy survival snacks, the slow route fermentation. Lacto-fermented cabbage becomes sauerkraut, kimchi, or cortito. Cucumbers become real pickles. No vinegar needed, just salt water and thyme. Ferments don't just last, they get healthier as they age, filling your gut with probiotics. Your ancestors didn't know what probiotics were, but they knew kraut kept them alive through winter. In fact, fermented foods fueled entire armies. Genghis Khan's warriors carried fermented mare's milk, while sailors relied on sauerkraut to fend off scurvy. Every jar of bubbling cabbage or pickled radish is more than food. It's ancient healthcare in disguise. 5. Root cellars, nature's refrigerator. Electric fridges are fragile, the earth steady. Just a few feet underground, the temperature stays around 50 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Perfect for carrots, potatoes, beets, apples, squash, and cabbages. Dig a hole, add shelves, and you've got a grocery store built into the dirt. No shovel. Try a zir pot. 2 clay pots nested together with wet sand in between. Evaporation cools the inside like a natural mini-fridge. Egyptians used them thousands of years ago. You can too. Pioneers often built root cellars right into the sides of hills, stacking them with bushels of apples and barrels of root vegetables. Step inside one, and you'll smell earth, wood, and produce. Proof that sometimes the simplest technology is the most reliable. 6. Oil sealing drown the enemy. Another old trick, plunge food into oil. Dried tomatoes, herbs, garlic, even cheese. All preserved under a golden seal. Oil cuts off oxygen, keeping bacteria at bay. But here's the warning. Botulism spores love oxygen-free oil. That's why you need to heat the food first and add acid like vinegar or lemon juice. Done right, you've got jars of flavor bombs that last months. This is why Grandma's shelf of artichokes and peppers swimming in olive oil wasn't just about taste, it was survival insurance. Ancient Greeks stored olives in amphorae filled with their own oil, ensuring they had calorie-rich food during sieges and lean harvests. Every time you drizzle olive oil today, you're using the same liquid gold that once kept entire villages alive. 7. Fat sealing, meat under wax. Last but not least, confit. After slow cooking meat, you pour rendered fat or lard over the top. The fat hardens into an airtight seal, keeping oxygen out and flavor locked in. Months later, scrape through the fat cap, and the meat underneath is still tender, rich, and safe. The Amish used it, medieval peasants used it, and you can use it too. Your cardiologist might not approve, but in desperate times, calories are king. French peasants perfected duck confit centuries ago as a way to store protein through cold seasons. Soldiers and hunters carried potted meats, sealed in fat as rations. Think of it as the original canned food, only the can was fat instead of tin. 7 methods, 0 refrigeration, centuries of proof. Salt it, dry it, smoke it, pickle it, bury it, oil it, seal it with fat. These low-tech lifesavers don't just extend shelf life, they connect you to traditions older than electricity. Every culture on Earth has a version of these tricks, passed down because they worked generation after generation. So which one are you itching to try first? Will you salt a slab of meat? Rig a backyard smoker? Start a bubbling jar of kraut? Drop your pick in the comments, and if your family has any old-world food preservation stories, share those too, they're gold. If you want more ways to outsmart a blackout dinner, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Because the truth is, the grid might fail tomorrow, but your stomach doesn't have to. Thanks for watching, stay curious, stay fed, and as always, stay ready. Don't just scroll past, hit that subscribe button now, and join the community of people who refuse to go hungry when the lights go out.